Guten Tag, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview. It's been quite a while since we've done one of these, but today we are going to be taking a look at the 352nd Infantry Division, the Pegasus Division. You won't be jumping over any hurdles, as you can see in the division icon, because there's not really that many hurdles that you have to jump over to begin with, because this is a very solid deck. It's an infantry division, but they can do a little bit more than yet. So if we take a look, economy rise, you got 90 points on A phase, which is quite a bit. B phase is only 100, which is on the lower end, but you go right back up high to a very respectable 130 points during C phase. So it's a rather good economy, especially at 90 points on A phase, allows you to spend quite a lot. And in terms of unit slots, it's all pretty good. You're not limited to any free slots in any category. Of course, you get a lot of infantry options, and support your artillery or your static weaponry, you get quite a decent amount of. This is tanks, recon, and airplanes. There's not that much to go on. So now, let's actually take a look at the deck salary. So if we jump into the recon section, you got access to all clear, the two-man squads. They come with a Kuba of an MG. I mean, that's pretty decent. Then you got the BMWs, the bikes. I never really suggest taking the bikes at all, because you can't high gem and they will die to pretty much everything. You're not Steve McQueen. And then you got the Fusiliers, which are really all good recon. Once again, a 9-man squad, machine gun, anti-tank mines, and 2 SMGs. So they can really pull their weight, and they have veterancy to boot. Very good recon squad that can hold their own. And then you got 2 types of armoured cars available. Both are of the French variety. You got the 204, which has a 25mm cannon. Cannon, not auto cannon, only shoots 17 rounds a minute, and it has 5 AP. It's pretty pants, and a single machine gun, but again, it's of French origin. And then you got the 204 CDM version, which has a bigger cannon, which is a bit more respectable, but once again, neither of the units are exactly great. Especially because you can only get this thing starting in B phase, and C phase is where they come in full strength, as they do have veterancy. But by C phase, an armoured car like this can't exactly pull its weight around. And even in A phase, you're not really going to be able to do much killing with one of these guys, so I wouldn't recommend using these armoured recon vehicles at all. So overall, recon is pretty solid. You just really want to use your infantry. Now going to infantry, you get a lot of options, so let's go through it. So you got your standard grenadier Fuhrers, got smoke grenades, veterancy, nothing really too crazy. We only get to your regular infantry options, because in A phase, you can either choose to get Osttruppen or Grenadiers. These are Grenadiers without the Panzerfaust. And it's a risk reward. The Osttruppen you get more of in terms of cards, and they're cheaper, but the Grenadiers have the veterancy and they are not disheartened. So it really comes down to your playstyle, if you just want to get a more cheaper unit, or want to try and stick it out and use some veteran guys to help hold the line. It's an interesting dynamic. You could choose to just go Osttruppen or Grenadiers, or just try to do a mix and match. But where this division comes well is the machine guns. I mean, these were the guys holding the bunkers during Saving Private Ryan, and so they got a lot of MG42s. They all have 1-star veterancy. You can get up to 6 of them in A phase and 2 cards, and in B phase you can get them in ×5. So that's a lot of DACA, and we all know the MG42 is a pretty damn good machine gun with its 800-meter range and rather high rate of fire. Very good infantry killers. So A phase is pretty decent. I mean, the machine guns really make up for it. B phase, you got Ersatztruppen. You can get 1 10x card, which is pretty good bang for your buck. Put in perspective, you can buy all of these in 1 tick during B. Ersatztruppen may look pants. They are pretty pants, but they're not that bad. They can hold a front line somewhat effectively. The spam, you throw them in. I mean, if they get killed, you might spot something that you need. So they're not a bad choice in all honesty. You can get Pioneer Furies if you want some more type of leader units. And then you got Stormtroopers, oh boy. So, Stormtroopers are bloody excellent. Yeah, a 5-man squad, 3 PPSHs, 2 MP40s, and a smoke grenade. Don't have the Panzerfaust like 17th SS counterpart, but it's not big of a deal because at 100-meter range, you got 18 HE damage. Those PPSHs dish out 4 HE per gun compared to the MP40's 3 HE per gun. And because they have 2-star veterancy, they will just rip up Forest. And at only 15 points, which is a real good price. You stick these guys in some wooded areas, they're going to get quite a lot of kills, even in towns as well. And you get quite a lot of them per card, so they're a good choice. You only get your regular grenadiers, you can get standard runs or runs with veterancy. And these guys do have the Panzerfaust for helping knock out enemy tanks. So, pretty standard infantry selection. And then Pioneers for your more CQC engagements. Once again, you do have SS Stormtroopers to help out. So, sometimes it's a good idea just to get the Grenadiers, ignore Pioneers completely, and then just go full on Stormtroopers. More at the MG42s, as I said before, and then see phase some Stern Pioneers if you want them. But once again, I still think the Stormtroopers are better bang for your buck, especially with a slight flamethrower nerf. So, you got very good infantry selection. There's no crazy Feldjägers or Super Uber units, but it's all very solid units. You get nice amount of veterancy spread out all the cards, and you get quite a lot of cards without having to resort to complete and utter spam. But you do have some spam if you decide to pick it. Lovely infantry selection. It's extremely well balanced. Tanks show is pretty basic for, you know, it's an infantry division. You don't get that many tanks. You got the Renault 35s. They're crap, but it's a tank at least. You can get a Panzer III H and A phase, or you can get some more B, your command tank version. They're not really that great. And then your regular Stug loadout B and C. Pretty boring. Nothing exactly crazy. But that's not all the tanks that this division has to offer. Support section, once again, well, it's not really that crazy good. I mean, it's just infantry guns. You got your IG-18s, and you got some IG-33s for some fire support. You can get flamethrower troops on A phase. You may want B phase, I wouldn't say, because you got access to 2-star stormtroopers. But the nice thing is, you get a lot of supply trucks. You can get them ×2 in A, or quite a few in B, and more in C. So you get a lot of supply, and trust me, you're going to need it, especially when we get to the artillery section. And even though OG-18s have been nerfed a little bit, they're still a good unit to pick. They provide pretty decent fire support for a relatively good price. Anti-tank is also very solid for this infantry division. You got Panzerschreck, so if you are picking more of an Osttrooper loadout, maybe you've taken a card of Panzerschrecks will help you out. Then you got Pak 38. You can get a 2-star run if you really want, but in the end of the day, you're still just getting a Pak 38. And then the Panzerjäger 35R, which is a tank destroyer version of the tank that we saw earlier. It's a solid, it's a bloody good unit for A phase. 55 points. You get 9 AP and a fast rate of fire and good accuracy to boot. They're not really great when it comes to the infantry killing department because you only got 10 shots of high explosive ammunition. But it's something. But for fighting Stuarts, these are a pretty good cost-effective option as well as other light tanks. And they're pretty good. I'd highly recommend taking a few, at least one card of these guys, because it's just a tank to help you, even though it's barely constitutes as a proper tank. Yeah, and in B phase, you get yourself some good old Pak 40s. You can really not go wrong with Pak 40s. Damn excellent anti-tank gun. Pretty much deal with the vast majority of allied armoured threats. And then funnily enough, you got two choices of Marauders. You could go Mortar 2 or Mortar 3. In terms of stats, a Mortar 3 is slightly faster, But the main thing is, do you want less with some veterancy or more with no veterancy? They're only 5 points more than a Pack 40, and it's still a Pack 40 gun. So really, it's just about what you want. So pretty good anti-tank options, and of course the Pack 43, and you can get some more in C phase 2 if you want some heavy tank bursters. But that's not all, because, you know, it's just an infantry division. So it makes sense for him to get the third heaviest German tank in game, the Jagdpanther. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, the Jagdpanther, considering this is in an infantry division. Of course, that makes sense because it's a anti-tank / assault gun. It's good. It's got 15 frontal armor and 22 AP, the same gun as the King Tiger, the same gun as the Pack 43, I should say. It can kill any allied tank in game, including the Jumbo, all relatively raw. And because it has 15 frontal armor, that means American 76mm guns are going to bounce off you at maximum range. And even 17-pounders are going to have a little bit of a hard time penetrating you because they have 16 AP, you got 15 armor. It's a crazy good unit, considering that you already have good infantry options and your tanks aren't too terrible, and you also got good anti-tank options, whatnot, in terms of dealing with tanks. Having the Jagdpanther is just, you know, it's a cherry on top of this whole division, because once you get to C phase, you can bring out proper heavy tanks that can hold your own. And they got the veterancy as well. Of course, they are expensive, because for 300 points, for 430 a tick, you're going to have to save up 3 minutes to buy yourself a Jagdpanther. But by God, it's worth it. It is so worth it, because this thing can hold the line very well. Even though it doesn't have a turret, it doesn't really matter too much. You don't want to be cocky, moving this up and getting flanked anyway. You still want to be more, I'm trying to think of the word here, more careful, more cautious with your German heavy tanks, as you always want to be with your German heavy tanks. They're not for rushing the enemy, for staying back and giving good fire support. But enough ego stroke on the Jagdpanther. It's a good unit. It really makes this division bloody spectacular. Anti-air is also awesome. You get a lot of slots and a lot of options. You can get these technicals with a 20mm if you really so want, and then flak vehicle in 37mm and A-phase, so real good A-phase options, which isn't too common in a lot of German decks, I'd say, especially tank divisions. But anyway, you just got good A-phase AA options. You can get more of those trucks these times with the flak vehicle ins on the back, and then the 37mm on the back of a truck. Also, you get a lot of Flak 40 runs. 6 of them. They don't have veterancy, but it's still a Flak 40 run. It will shoot planes out the sky and make them run away to their mamas quite fast. And mobile wagon, as well as a 2-star mobile wagon, if you so desire. So, real good AA options, especially with the amount of Flak ATH you can get mixed in with the 37mm guns that are available. So you can set up a very good AA net for a pretty decent price. Artillery is also pretty damn awesome. It's more specialized, I say, in a lot of the artillery units, as we see. We got 81mm mortars, very good mortars, good in A-phase for flying over towns, and they can knock out anti-tank guns thanks to their 1.2 kilometer range. And then the FK-18, you can get some in A-phase and more in B-phase. Yeah, pretty good light gun. They're not great. I don't have the highest high explosive compared to, well, they don't have the highest high explosive value, but you can get them for 80 points, which is a damn good deal, and they have better range than the mortars. So not a terrible option, but you do want to get quite a lot of them to really be able to do much damage. And if you really want, you can get a 120mm mortar in A-phase, but I just think it's a bit too risky and unnecessary. But what's not unnecessary, is nebelwerfers. Oh boy, you got nebelwerfers out the wazoo with this division. You can get up to 4 in B phase, and then you can get ×3 in C phase, as well as nebelwerfer 42s. And the nebelwerfer is already a fantastic bloody unit, as you can just make a town surrender very easily, just a few roleplay strikes, and for only 60 points, they're really worth a bang for buck. Nebelwerfers are great. You want to be using these guys all the time. Then you got off-map artillery in terms of 173mm battery from the back of its half jackets. I know, pretty standard, nothing really too crazy. And you can get a lot of these 120mm mortars, times 3 of them, and they do quite a bit of damage. So, a good pick now in B phase. But also, you got access to SK-18s. It just keeps getting better with the artillery tab. It has the longest range of any artillery gun in game. Of course, the M12 GMC also has the same range. So, you can keep it at the back of the map and just plop and plink array up anything that you see. It's fantastic for counter battery, and I'd really say you want to be using your SK-18s for counter battery mainly, if there's stuff to counter battery, of course, because that's really a main advantage. You can get more in C phase as well. I'd recommend getting these in C phase as they are rather expensive and you have more of an economy to sustain that, but by God, it's good. And then you can get some 2 10mm mortars, or off-map artillery, I should say, my bad. It's a really good artillery selection, as you get a lot in terms of numbers, and you got nebelwerfers for stunning up, you got the light guns for just cheap fire support, the mortars for more heavy fire support, and then the SK-18s for counter battery. You don't really get regular field guns such as Resps or like 25 pounders for an allied example. That can do high explosive and smoking. You're going to have to rely on mortars to do that. But because each of these units are rather specialized, like I mentioned before, you can do a damn good job with this division with the artillery selection they have available. And mainly, if anything, you want to get nebelwerfers. Nebelwerfers win you matches. It's simple as that. Airplane tab is also good. It's nothing crazy good, but it's good. You got Storts for just your regular recon. Why do you want to use the Storts to begin with? Or if you can go a bit more Dunkirk and get you some Ju-87Ds. They don't have the best bomb loadout, but they're 100 points, making it the cheapest plane, I believe the cheapest plane in game. It also has veterancy as well. Yes, Stukas are slow. They're really slow. But the thing is, they have the best agility in game. So even though its speed may seem like a disadvantage, because it is, if you're getting chased by an enemy plane, if you were to actually start dogfighting with it, which may not seem like a good idea, because you only got 2 machine guns in front and one in back, and it's just regular old machine guns, yeah, it's actually a damn good idea, because you can outturn every plane in game. So if you get into a turn-in dogfight, you may not be able to actually kill the plane, but you're just going to keep it in a suspense limbo to give you enough time to actually get a fighter or anti-aircraft guns on the field to scare the plane array. And you can get some Messerschmitt 109G. Don't even get these guys. They're pants. They're absolute rubbish. They only have 4 HE for a fighter. I mean, they're cheap, but just don't get them. You want to be getting Focke-Wulfs instead, because these guys have 10 HE. They're faster. They're not as good for turn, of course, but by God, you can kill and you can get a 2-star one. Highly recommend getting 2-star planes, as you do want to fight a race to fight, of course. Ju-87Gs aren't exactly rough, because you already have good anti-tank options throughout the rest of your division. So, yeah, even then, the problem with these runs, even though you do have a good agility once again, is once you get into B phase, the enemy usually has some good anti-aircraft guns in the field, and even just a few simple 20 mils that will force you running home, and the enemy is going to see you a mile away because of how slow you are, so they're going to be able to move their tanks into a hidey-ho position. Focke-Wulf G3 is the same bomber loadout as the Ju-87D, but it's also a Focke-Wulf, so it can actually, fight. Not as well as the other ones, as it does have less of a fighter loadout. And a Messerschmitt with 1 250kg bomb. With a C phase, you can get a few B3s if you so desire, but once again, you already have such good anti-tank options, I don't really think you're going to need it, because you could spend 200 points to get a B3, or you could just spend an extra 100 points to get a Jagdpanther, which will have much better presence on the field. And then of course the Ju-88, this one drops the two 500 kilogram bombs, so your regular Axis heavy bomber. So here is a deck that I built earlier. This is more of a general deck for 350 seconds instead of a specialized 1v1, 2v2, etc. style of deck. This is meant to pretty much cover all of your bases. So, well, let's take a closer look. Recon, it's all Fusiliers because they're a proper fighting squad. And they're really bloody good. Really the best option you get for Recon. Infantry, we are going with the Osttroopens, as I just prefer having quantity over quality. But if you want, feel free to mix in a Grenadier or two. We have 2 cards of Grenadier / Pioneer Führers, as we don't have any support style command cards. We really want to take another run in the infantry slot. Of course, MG42 in A phase, because they are really bloody good. These are really going to be your killing power, while the Osttroopen are meant to just kind of hold the line. Stormtroopers for your close range support. 2 cards are just regular Grenadiers, none of the veterancy ones, as once again, quantity over quality. And more MG42s, because MG42. Tanks is basic. Panther 35R is just some sort of armor in A phase. Panzer 3 to help you out in B, as well as just 1 card of B phase stugs. Nothing exactly too crazy. Support, we're taking IG-18s, because even though after the nerf, IG-18s are still good. I'd recommend taking the A phase ones, as you don't really have that many units in A phase or much killing power, so having these help out quite a bit. As well as just 1 A and B phase supply truck for all your supply needs. 5 is more than enough. Anti-tank, we pretty much got one of everything in A's. We've got the Panzerschrecks, we've got the Pak-38, and the Panzerjäger. B phase, we're taking the 1.2 kilometer Pak-40, and Mortar 3s also act as a somewhat decent tank to help you out with a cheaper tank force. And then we got Jagdpanthers, 1 2-star and 2 1-stars. I like using a 2-star run, and then if it does get killed, or if I need a second, I fall back using the 1-star. You can feel free to just take 1 card of 2, or just take 2 2-stars. Honestly, I'm not really going to see many instances where you're going to be able to afford 3 Jagdpanthers, because that's pretty expensive. That's 900 points. Anti-air, Flak Vehicle and Flak 36 to help you out in A phase, and they're pretty decent AA units. The Flak 41s for their long range fire support, and then the Mobile Rag, and a little bit light. I may want to slot out an anti-tank unit for another AA if you're feeling paranoid, but because we already have some pretty decent fighters, I'm not too worried. Artillery, we got one of everything. We got 81mm mortars for just good mortar support. FK18 in A phase, if you feel like it, feel free to take some in B or just drop it out. Nebelwerfers, we're going to get 5 in total, because really, you can't go wrong with Nebelwerfers. We got the heavy mortars, and by god, these are really good, especially considering you get them in packs of 3. They can dish out a lot of damage. And then 1 card of SK18s into C for your counter battery needs. I'd recommend getting these guys in C compared to B, because you have a much better economy to afford it. Airplanes, J87 in A phase, they're not really going to kill you that much. They may stop a small infantry push going along the flanks, but it's 100 points for a plane, and there's not going to be that much AA in A phase, so you can fly around rather freely with these guys. 3 fighters in total, 1 ace fighter, because you want to actually have a good fighter. And then Ju-88, I don't think you're going to be using this too much. It's just kind of, yeah, if you want. And there's nothing else I really think is too necessary. Maybe switch it out for Messerschmitt 109 to have another fighter type bomber card. This is kind of just flavor. So overall, the positives of this deck is it's extremely well balanced. You don't exactly have many weaknesses or any major weaknesses at all. All your slots are really well put together. Jagdpanther, I just want to reiterate, you got the 3rd heaviest German tanking game in an infantry division, where you don't really suffer from lack of infantry, artillery, airplanes, etc. It's good. It's really bloody good. You can kill any allied tank with the Jagdpanther. That's how good it is. MG42 spam. MG42s are already pretty powerful. The 1-star veterancy and the amount you can get is just icing on the cake. And you have a pretty nice economy curve. You got a nice amount of points in A phase. B phase isn't all that much, but once you get to C, it really evens out. It's just a very good economy, and because nothing is really too expensive in this deck until you get to the Jagdpanthers, of course, you can really buy and afford to get a lot of units out on the field. In terms of cons of this deck, the only real major one that I can think of is you lack aggressive A-phase infantry or A-phase units in total. Even if you have a very good A-phase economy, you can't exactly do major pushes with it. You don't have like Panzer IIIs or other like light recon vehicles to make a great push. Instead, you have much more of a defensive A-phase with the units that you have available. And that's not necessarily a completely bad thing, because you can hold the line rather effectively, especially against aggressive decks such as 4th Armoured or the French Armoured Division. You can do pretty well. But if you are fighting an A-phase, you really want to focus on capturing the towns, as that's where your infantry and support guns can really take advantage. So with that out the way, let's actually take a look in how the 352nd actually perform in a match. And here we are doing a 1v1 on St. Mary Glees. Cadi will be representing the 352nd Infantry Division, and he's going to be fighting against Anti-Hype as the 3rd Canadian Infantry. So two rather even divisions, I'd say, in terms of equipment loadout and points. I mean, it's not too far off throughout either of the phases. So if we take a look at Cadillac's deck, it is very much an A-phase centric deck. We got a lot of those 120mm mortars in A phase, a lot of infantry in A, and not many machine guns or real leaders, as he is opting to get some more pioneers. Not much recon either. IG-18 spam at the Razoo because IG-18s, and a lot of Flak 88, quite a lot of Flak 88, all 6 of them. So it's definitely an interesting deck. The one thing I personally don't like is a lack of MG42s. I think that's really the mainstay. Just having 5 of them in one card is pretty good. But in the end of the day, it's really hard to make a bad 352nd Infantry Division deck. It's all pretty damn good. So we're going to speed things up and get things going. So this map, we've got town and centre, fields on it left, field on the right. And as we said before, you really want to be fighting over the town during A phase, and that's exactly what Cadillac is going to be doing. Now, how does infantry compare against the Canadian rifles is rather interesting, because the rifles do have better veterancy, and compared to the Osttrooper, they don't get stunned up as easily. In close range 100-meter engagements, I'd say the riflemen win, just because of the fact of veterancy. And in an SMG fight, even though it's just one SMG on one SMG, they just have the advantage. But at longer ranges, especially where you get to the 400 meters, where you can just shoot with the MG42 that the Grenadiers have and Osttrooper have, I'd say you pretty much win, because Bren gun, like a highly vetted Bren gun versus a non-vetted MG42, MG42 wins. So left hand side, you've got your IG-18 going to be taking some shots into his rather big Canadian clump, getting some good morale damage there as the Panjäger is positioned into there. We got the Flammenwerfers, because there are no well, it doesn't have any Stormtroopers in the deck at all, so really the Flammenwerfers are his specialized close range guys. He does have some Pioneers though to help out too, and he just has much more infantry in his sound compared to his Canadian counterpart, flanking along the right hand side here of his Osttrooper too. The Stormtroopers are going to get in close, which is definitely the right move. You want to get him as close as possible, right into knife fighting range. And yeah, because he doesn't have a flamethrower troop, so those Stormtroopers are just going to completely eat up both of those Osttroopers there. And that's what I mean, you want to keep them at long range. The machine gun getting stunned up. And the MG42 all the way over here, and that's what I mean about MG42s, just because of a pretty long range, you can just give fire support all over the place. You can just, I mean, is he shooting? Yeah, I think he's just barely shooting the, yeah, the building. That's such a tight shot, yeah. I mean, you can't even see it through the rangefinder. It's just right through here, essentially. But he's pretty much captured a town, and that is important. That's going to give him a nice +1 point advantage. And he just has good defense along the sides. Nothing crazy, but just enough to stop any real pushes. So this is going to be a town infantry fight. The nebelwerfers doing their job, well, somewhat effectively. I mean, only got one of them managed to actually shoot their flamethrower off. But the Canadian player, Mr. Anti-Hype, bringing in some stormtroopers to try and clear out the Osttroopers. And once again, if those stormtroopers getting close, it's going to be GG for the Ost. And that's exactly what they're going to be able to do. Flame and Werfer getting in. Going to get some good flamethrower hits. Going to be knocking out that squad. So it really is just kind of an even fight for the town on left hand flank. IG-18 and Panjäger combo working really well in unison, as the Panjäger can knock out the vehicles, as the IG-18 can help with fire support. So a very deadly combination, and it's also a rather cheap combination. Only, if I do the math right now, like 100 points total for both of those units, which is pretty good bang for your buck. And it's just an infantry fight. And the Osttroopers fire an array. We do have one leader unit, but maybe another leader on this right hand side would help out quite a bit. Mortar coming in, giving some good fire support. As those mortars are, they're really bloody good. Especially considering that the Canadians can really only get the 25 pounder, which is good for counter battery, but not as good in terms of fire support capability, especially for the price range. You can almost get 2 81 mils for 125. I think it's like a 20-point difference. The MG42, as you can see, just tearing up the place at long range. And especially compared to the Vickers gun, it's just night and day how much better the MG42 is. I'm still rather puzzled why he hasn't decided to bring more of them up. But I'm guessing he's supplementing them with all the IG-18 spam, as that also fills in the same role. In a sense, he can't put an IG-18 in a building. So he's just barely holding on to the town. Really, it's the fire support from his Panther III and 81mm mortar that's really bringing the day here, stopping those rifles from getting anywhere close. And we are still in A phase, 4 minutes till B. It's really once again to B phase, where Cadillac can start bringing out some more regular grenadiers. The Pioneers are going to help out Stugs, etc., etc. Flak 88. I mean, he does not have to worry about airplanes with the amount of Flak 88s on his deck. Yeah, it's just a slow infantry fight. We've got that rifle leader of the Piat coming into that Panther III. We'll have to watch out. And yeah, rightfully so. Almost getting hit yet, but fortunately, it's only a Piat. And we all know how effective the Piat is. There we go. Sorry about that. It just froze for a second. That is not entirely good. But a Rosp is now clearing things up. And Anti-Hype is starting to make his way through. Once again, very lucky at Panther III. And now it's going to be forced all the way outside the town. And really, it just kind of lost his foot and doesn't really have much in terms of Osttroopers or Grenadiers holding the front line here. And those rifles are very cheap, 15 points compared to 20. I mean, it's only a 5-point difference, but with that low numbers, that 5-point difference is quite a big difference. So now Cadillac will finally bring in the reinforcements, some regular Osttroopers to secure the front. I feel like they need a little bit more because these rifles are in very good positions, especially if the Osttroopers were to get into these buildings here. They're going to be in SMG range, and like I said before, if it getting that close, it's not going to be too great. And the Rosp, fantastic positioning. Too bad he hasn't really maneuvered his Panther III over here to try and knock out that single Rosp. He is bringing out that Panther Strike, as well as I believe the leader unit, or no, I think it was just Grenadiers. If you take a look on the flanks, he's holding rather well, even though there's a Ram 2 here, and he can't exactly pen it. He's just keeping it morale stunned, keeping it at bay, and the Ram 2 can't shoot at the IG-18 as it does not have high explosive ammo, and it can't even deal with the MG42, so these infantry guns are doing a damn good job. Right hand side, really not much going on. Maybe a little bit of a slow push here of the static guns and recon. Just trying to get a little bit of extra ground, but the main thing is Cadillac is still at a +1 point advantage. And we are now in B phase. Got that 25 pounder on the field, yeah, from anti-hype. And really, it's just kind of a tooth and tail, or tooth and nail, I should say. I'm thinking of that bloody strategy game. Good strategy game. Highly recommend it. Fight for the town. And the Canadians are just extremely dug in. But you know what would be a very good idea right now to deal with this? A nebelwerfer. Nebelwerfers are just absolutely useful for town fights, especially considering that Cadi doesn't have a lot of great CQC infantry. Just a nebelwerfer would clear up his entire stack. And there's no excuse not to get one. It's 60 points. 60 points. And the 25 pounders rightfully hitting up Pack 38, trying to knock out Yo's static weaponry. He does manage to kill it. And I believe the Ram too got knocked out, didn't it? Did it get knocked out? Yeah. I think it's over here, isn't it? Well, anyway, instead, it probably got side-shotted by the Pangier. I mean, you can see later on, once you get to the end of the match, looking at the kill-death ratio. The Grenadiers are just barely holding on. And I've got the Panzer III being brought in to give some fire support. And a pre-7 DD. Really, Canadians are rather low in manpower now. And again, slowly beat up on the right hand side. The rifles are dogging on the left. Whereas the Panzer III on play, extra fire support is going to go a mile. And that rifle leader only has one Piat left. Hopefully, for his sake, he could actually hit something with the Piat. But now he's finally got Pioneers, which are going to come in, give that just a bit of extra needed CQC support. And that 25 pounder is going to be a pain in the butt, knocking out the MG42 and almost killing the IG-18, yeah. And it's too bad for Cadi. He doesn't have any SK-18s in his tank, not even in C phase. It's just, you could easily counter battery that 25 pounder without risking your artillery units at all. But Cadi has managed to put some bit of a weakness on the right hand flank here. I mean, it's not much of an attacking force, but there's nothing here to stop it, except for the Sherman and 25 pounder, which is now encroaching on his position. So now would be a time to get some anti-tank weaponry, and that's what he's doing with a Flak 88. And in an open field, that Flak 88 is going to be extremely powerful. He's going to rope out the 25 pounder. But the Canadians are coming in for round 2 electric boogaloo. That's a lot of infantry, including on the right hand flank. A lot of infantry. Just look at how clumped up they are. Once again, nebelwerfer. Nebelwerfer in all of this. You would easily get the town. Unfortunately, his 80mm mortars out of ammo, and he does have a 170mm artillery piece. Too bad you can't actually see how many shots it has. But just, he needs to use his artillery to try and secure his town. Unfortunately, he just has overwhelming firepower. All the MG42s on the field, and they're just going to stun up the rifles. And as you can see, his infantry are barely morale damaged, as Bren guns are pea shooters. Got some rifles moving on the right hand flank, trying to flank into the town here. The Sherman managed to get hits on the Flak 88, almost killing it, but it is rather damaged. It's going to be quite slow. Left hand flank Sherman as well. And do we have, yeah, we got a proper anti-tank gun. A Pack 43. A Pack 43 in B phase, that is an interesting choice. But that's just going to cut the Sherman right in half. And these Shermans are a pretty good counter right now, as there's not much anti-tank on the field, and they just give good fire support in general. They're helping stun up into the town. The Panzer III can't exactly do too much here. I mean, maybe you could actually flank and kill out Priest DD. There's no, the Grenadiers aren't nearby to get a good Panzerfaust shot. If he could have positioned one in the forest, yeah, it would have been really good. But oh no, it's going to be a bit risky. I mean, it's pretty much a who shoots who first scenario inside this town. They both probably can see each other. Yeah. Oh, Panzer III exchanging shots with a 25 pounder. Sherman going to be rushing in, trying to get the kill. And the kill he does. Yeah, Infantry is pretty much buggered. And off he goes. Got 6-pounder movement on the right hand flank. Doesn't really seem necessary to get. Well, I guess he brought it to kill the Panzer 3 maybe, but now it's nothing exactly to kill. Whereas the Mortar 2 now, so that is a potential target. But Canadians are just bringing in a crap ton of infantry. You know, Cadillac does have a good defense still, just Grenadiers and Pioneers in good positions. Quite a lot of open ground between him and the enemy where they can use, you have machine gun advantage. There is a Sherman on the field. If he can get into a good position down the road maybe. I mean, don't want to get too close because the Grenadiers do have Panzerfaust, and I accidentally turned off my Xbox controller. That was not supposed to happen. The Canadians just rushing in, and with the fire support in play, Grenadiers holding on to that church just barely. And once again, nebelwerfer and Cadillac, he does have his off map here, but he's not doing anything with it, or it has not resupplied its mortars at all. And these are vital for holding the town. He could have got these guys over here, stopped his push, but really, anti-LAP is just pushing through, as there's nothing really to stop him. And now he's managing to even the scores here. Got J87G, not exactly my favourite anti-tank plane, but he didn't really kill any of the tanks. Fortunately for is that there's no AA on the field, so it's a rather safe bet to get it. Mortars taking some plink shots on the rifles, and I believe we got a second 25-pounder. Yes, we do. So anti-hype bringing in that artillery game, and another Sherman 3. He really does like his Shermans. As Anti is really just putting all forces into his town. The Grenadiers are holding on pretty well. There's a counter battery on the 81mm mortars now. Grenadiers rushing in. But like I said, your infantry are very good defensive infantry. It's a very good defensive deck. And even though he didn't exactly have a lot in terms of firepower, he held on pretty well with what he got. Maybe he could have maneuvered his Grenadiers into better positions to knock out the Shermans and the priests, because those are really the vital targets. If he managed to do that, he may have been able to stop the assault at least, because those rifles were extremely stunned up. J87 coming in, but not going to be able to get... Oh, gets the kill over the mortar. The run-2 punts. And he did decide to bring in the Messerschmitt G0. I don't think it's a good choice. I really would not recommend the G0 at all. And the Spitfire, is he going to go for a mortar? Oh, I think he's just trying to go for the plane. You've got Focke-Wulf and Spitfire. And just because Focke-Wulf managed to get a good shot onto the Spitfire, and now there's another Focke-Wulf on the field too. Yeah, Spitfire is pretty much buggered. Focke-Wulf can easily catch up and get the kill. And off he goes. But he's 25-pounders in the back. It has proven to be a pain in the butt, as anti-hype is just completely annihilating his town now. So many infantry. And he hasn't even used... I swear I have not seen him use the off-map RT. Maybe it's a visual bug where you don't actually see the thing, but I think he hasn't used it at all. Which really puzzles me, because that's such a useful unit, or he used up all his ammo earlier. Oh no, I haven't seen any of the kill radius on the field. Or the off-map unit marker, I should say. But now anti-hype now has the town, but fortunately Cadi does have at least some air superiority. And he is trying to get some kills with a J87G. But now we got actual AA on the field. Those Tripostons, yeah, the 87s don't really stand a chance. Once again, if you had a nebelwerfer, really artillery would have saved a Cadillac on this scenario. Nebelwerfer to enable a town, SK-18 to counter batteries 25-pounders. He is getting a Pak 30, Pak 40 onto the field here, trying to cover the exit out of the town. And finally, we've got the nebelwerfer. And he is going to be unloading it immediately. And just look, it's a lovely clump of forces. Too bad it doesn't have any actual infantry to do a major push to retake the town after the nebelwerfer strikes, because that's really how you want to be using the nebelwerfer, that 1-2 punch. And this is what I mean, nebelwerfer getting some good stuns, yeah, stunning the Sherman, stunning the rifles. Didn't get everything, of course, but for 60 points, that's pretty good. And if you get 2 of them for 120, it's double the fun, my dude. The 88mm did get killed in the right hand flank. I believe that was quite a while ago, but once again, that's just because he doesn't have artillery advantage. And is that a heavy mortar? No, it's an SK IG-18. But it's not looking that good for Cadi at all. We are in C phase. We're 5 minutes into C phase. He's lost the town. He doesn't really have the initiative. He does have a lot of points banked up, which is going to benefit him quite a bit. But he just does not have much, and he's not really buying anything. And I wonder why. He's getting some infantry, some grenadiers, just to help secure the front line. And now it'd be for Anti-Hope to really just try and push through, gain as much ground as he can. We do have some defensive Pack 43s, a Sherman being rushed up. And this is why we haven't seen anything for the past 3 minutes. Is because Cadi is deciding to get that single Jagdpanther that he has available. And if we look at it, just on a unit rise, there's nothing currently on the field that Anti-Hype can use to effectively kill the Jagdpanther. He can side-shot it with the Sherman, but that's really it. So this Jagdpanther is really going to be his saving grace as he rushes it in. The Pack 43 getting some good side shots as the infantry and tanks move out of that town. Kills a priest DD. And here comes that Jagdpanther. And that Sherman is toast. Absolute toast. And he is going to be rushing in. I don't exactly like his maneuver, as he doesn't have anything screening in front. As there could be a Piat squad here or here in this building here, for example. You always want to have infantry in front of your tanks, always. Even if you feel like there's going to be nothing there, you never know. There could be a 17-pounder here or a 6-pounder over here. You never know. You can't risk it, especially considering this is a 300-point vehicle. He's silently bringing up the Pioneers. nebelwerfer really needs to get us a supply truck. He needs a supply truck at the start of the match, to be honest, to help with his 81mm mortar. But now he's using his airplane to try and secure the ground play. Stunning up his rifles, but he needs, I don't know, maybe a Stug on the right hand side, another IG-18 to more infantry. Help secure this up. And he's bringing the Jagdpanther even closer. Still very risky to have it in this position. And yeah, there goes the links. And finally we do have a 17-pounder being brought out here from Anti-Hype. And there's a lot of areas for you to put a good 17-pounder just to knock out his Jagdpanther. He is helping out now, stunning up those rifles, which is exactly what he should be doing. But he has no recon in front, nothing to screen. I mean, he's just begging to get shot. Absolute begging. But he's managing to secure the rain, clear up some of the forces now, and at long range grenadiers do beat out the rifles, as you see, especially with flak vehicle in support. And yeah, there goes the Jagdpanther. And like I keep saying, you always want to have infantry in front of your heavy tanks. Now he finally does, after the tank got blown up. But the damage has been done, and he has managed to at least secure the initiative now, clearing out his middle sector, moving up his infantry slowly. He still needs something on his far right to capture his area once again. And he's still holding on to left rather well. I mean, that Pack 43 and Mortar 2 combo are really stopping any tanks from poking through the hedgerow, yeah. Here comes J87G. Will he be able to kill the Wolverine? No, he doesn't. And yeah, I still don't think it's a good plane choice. I mean, he failed to kill bloody Wolverine with a J87. That's really quite something. He's bringing up a Flak 88 to try and secure this middle. Long range fire support. But getting into this town now is going to be a bit of a pain. As Anti-Hype does have the outskirts under control. He does have tanks. Got Crusader AA, more. A lot of AA now. That's quite a lot of AA. So that J87 ain't going to be able to do much anymore. But too bad the Jagdpanther's not alive, because at long range, like here for example, just giving some good fire support would have helped out. Or over here, just... Or artillery, nebelwerfer. Jeez, his neighbor... He hasn't... He has supply trucks in his deck and he hasn't brought any. He's really negating his artillery advantage that he could potentially get. Just nebelwerfer the town, move in the infantry, it's GG, you got the town. And those 25 pounders are really doing good work out from Anti-Hype, as he's slowly gaining that +1 advantage, catching on to Cadi. And it's just a slow, drawn-out fight, really. I mean, Cadi just has good defense. He's slowly moving up. It's hard to make any crazy pushes with 350 as you have a lot of slow units and no real proper tanks to really do those crazy thrusts. But just look over here. Cadi is taking advantage on this left-hand flank, knowing that there's nothing there. Just moving some more Strupen. And that's just going to be a bit of map control. And that's all he really needs at the moment. Just some map control. And... That's what I mean by artillery. He can't take advantage of using the static guns, as anytime he shoots, he's just going to get spotted and counter-batteried. And he's doing the same thing on right-hand flank, as Anti-Hype has nothing here to really defend. And that's just going to be given the +1 to Cadi. There's only 4 minutes left, so every point's going to count, especially considering how close Anti-Hype is to Cadillac score. And that is a smart play, because fighting in these last 4 minutes, it's going to take a little bit more than 4 minutes to completely secure the town. And that's just part of the map. That's not going to be that much in terms of map control. Where he's taken all of this ground, which is pretty much town-sized amount of ground, for really no bullets exchanged. That's just some easy points available. And that's just good play in general. I mean, just especially in these end parts of the match, you just kind of want to take as much ground as possible. Just move up everything. You only got 3 minutes left. Yes, you may lose a bit of your KD score, but who cares about KD? It's all about points. And will the J87 get a kill? No. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I think it's also because the building's given it some slight cover. And finally, it does die to a flak 88. But as the plays on the flank is really going to allow Cadi to, well, win this match. We got some more artillery, and finally a supply trucks will resupply nebelwerfer, but a little bit too late, yeah, but Stug free on the right-hand flank. We have the Shermans and the artillery on the field. He just gets stunned up and killed. And a second nebelwerfer now. Now, even though Anti's now doing a pretty good push with his Sherman assault and artillery support, it's just going to be a little bit too late. You know, Sherman's getting real close, and Pack 38 doesn't even get the kill. Will he get a kill for Panzerschreck? No, he doesn't, as that's going to be a GG. Cadi taking the victory, and he gets a rather even KD, only a 500 point difference, which isn't all that much. But in terms of kills for Cadillac, I mean, there's nothing too crazy. Oh, he did use his off-map artillery. I do apologise. Yeah, it must have been bugged on the field. But he actually killed quite a decent amount of rifles with it. So, yeah, he did have the ad going for him. Pack 43 getting a lot of good kills, yeah, as well. And the Jagdpanther just knocking out those important AA units and Sherman units, or single Sherman unit. And even though he didn't use it as effectively as he could have, it still did its job of clearing out the front for him to do a decent counter push. But nothing real crazy in terms of kills. You know, I mean, don't really have that many crazy units to get, like, you know, like Feldjägers who kill 2 platoons of infantry all by themselves. And he did lose a lot to that 25 pounder, a lot of important static units. And I want to reiterate again, you really want to be doing that artillery spam with 352nd. Getting those nebelwerfer and SK-18 combo is deadly, absolutely deadly. And if he could have dealt with the 25 pounder, he would have had a much easier time defending the flank. But overall, that was pretty good play. He tried to fight over the town. He did a pretty good job fighting and holding for it. But because he lacked the artillery, he made his life a little bit harder than it really could have been. So overall, 352nd, as you can see, it's a very good deck. You got a lot of lovely defensive units, and it's all about nebelwerfers. Really, if you can take one thing at the end of this video, get nebelwerfers. And I'm going to shut up and leave it at. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found this useful. And as usual, please just take it easy.